Hey guys, good morning, good morning. Judy, dropping knowledge again in its original form. Mr. Potato. In its original form, Mr. Potato Head was offered as separate plastic parts with push pins to be affixed to a real potato or other vegetable. Oh my god, are you serious? That's hilarious. Sounds very dangerous though. I'm glad they changed it. Sergeant Yuri Buchanan was ordered to forfeit 5 days of leave after being found to have violated 2 rules and regulations governing the Department of State Police. Violations: failure to properly counsel a subordinate for sending inappropriate messages regarding an ongoing investigation. Per policy, did not document inefficiencies of a subordinate. Good morning, everybody. My name is Debbie. Welcome to my channel. This is day 14 of the Karen Reed retrial, and Hank Brennan has been at it again over the weekend. We went over the text between Karen Reed and Brian Higgins on Friday via Sergeant Yuri Buchanan, who was Trooper Proctor's supervisor, who was fired because of his conduct in this case. And we also went over text messages. Oh, did I just say that? Yes, I just said that. In the text messages, there was some mention of the fight that she had with the victim, John O'Keefe, over the New Year's holiday when they went to Aruba. And that opened the door for, they weren't supposed to talk about it this trial. They talked about it last trial. But that opened the door for Brennan to make a motion that it should be admitted into this trial. They think that is part of the motive. So if you guys were watching Phil Spector with me and I yelled, Brennan, that's what I was yelling about. Goat's gonna get a workout today, y'all. On the other motion, of course, I was streaming the Phil Spector trial. I didn't have time to read the whole motion. The other motion was something about police procedures and tests that weren't done. Basically, part of the argument that the investigation was done improperly. And the defense wanted to have an expert, a retired FBI agent, to come in and testify to all the things that were done improperly. And Judge Cannoni said no, because the jury should be smart enough to figure that out on their own. So it was not needed. I disagree, as do most people in their right minds. But that's the way it was left. And I so hope that Jackson and team decide to, resubmit that motion. Because I think now more than ever, they need someone to go point by point of all the crappy things that happened in this investigation. Because there was a lot. There was a lot of jumping to conclusions, rush to what did Brooks always say? I can't speak this morning. I'm so upset I can't speak. Rush to judgment. So, they were supposed to start at 10, which they did, but they are hashing over these motions that Hank submitted over the weekend. And there was some talking going on. I did, Carla. I did. Very, very interesting. And I watched them last night. I didn't take notes or anything because that was like, I didn't watch anything Karen Reed related all weekend. Because it was just like, I needed a buffer day, right? I need Saturday. I didn't watch anything. I didn't start watching stuff until last night because I just needed StreamYard. Don't. You were fine. When we were watching Phil, you were fine. But yeah, and they both said, Papa George especially said that Jackson, I forgot what Papa George said. He said it should have been said in a much more vague way so as to not mention the Aruba trip. But Jackson did it, and now Brennan wants it in, and I bet you both gonna love it.
Here in open court or
Okay. Hey, Robbie. Yeah, he did say he should have been vague, especially about the Aruba thing. And yeah, but Papa Tragos did not watch the first trial. He saw bits and pieces. So, he was confused by the order of witnesses. And then there was somebody in Peter's chat that's from the UK, and I guess it's his first time watching the trial. He still doesn't know what happened. Like, they haven't put, hey, Nancy, they haven't put enough together for him to understand what's going on yet. Because at least Lally talked to all the people that was at the waterfall. Like, he had a chronological order of what happened the night before. I want to try something new. I've never done this before. You know, you guys, I hate asking you for money. But I did something this weekend. Okay, so YouTube has this goal thing. If you guys watch Runkle, he does this a lot. I don't know if it shows up for you guys. Okay. 5 super chats, light blue or higher, within the next 2 hours, and I will show you guys the video I took of Spike this weekend. Okay, so starting now. Why does it say an error occurred? Don't arrow. This is my first time doing. Why is there an error? The first time I tried to do this and I get an error. What are you talking about, error? Well, hang on. Let me try it on the computer. My iPad doesn't want to do it. Oh, well, daggum. You guys did it too soon because it's not counting it as part of the goal. Thank you, guys. I'll count it, though. I'll still count it as part of the goal. This is the first time I've ever done this, as I'm sure you guys know because you're here all the time. Runkle does it a lot. Thank you, guys. It's a really funny video. Well, I won't tell you. I'll show you if I make the goal. Yay, only 2 more. Okay.
Now, remain seated.
Now before
3. And let me turn my camera off.
coming to court today. So I'll hear you quickly on these. I've had a chance to read them. So focus on the other one. Later.
My motion memorandum on Bowden just iterates my objections continuously at bar that admissible, and the defense should have the ability and intention to follow up with substantive proof if they're going to ask a question. It's not limitless. Bowden is wide parameters to ask the investigator about their state of mind, about the scope of the investigation, but it has boundaries of reasonableness. And my earlier objections about offering information that go into beyond Bowden, delve into third-party, inadmissible evidence. Those objections are what compelled me to draft this motion. And I can continue and will continue to object during the case, but once the questions are asked, if they're improper, the jury hears them, it inflames the jury. And without a basis and an intention to follow it up with substantive proof, the question should not be asked.
So the one point I want you to focus on, Mr. Brennan, is the specific evidence regarding materials that Sergeant Buchanan has not been able to look at.
You want me to?
Is that something we can do here in open court, or based on the protective orders, that's something that should be done at sidebar?
Sidebar.
All right, why don't you come up, Mr. Jackson?
Are you kidding me? They're gonna do it at sidebar, so we still don't get. Ugh. I liked all of them. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. I don't understand why they go to sidebar when the jury isn't present. Did they come back from sidebar and say anything? Probably not. Oh.
Let's bring in the jury. Will that take a couple of minutes, Paul? Okay. Thank you.
All rise, please.
Refrain from discussing this case with anyone since we left here on Friday. Everyone said yes or not affirmatively. Were you also able to follow the instruction and refrain from doing any independent research and investigation into this case? Yes. Everyone said yes or nodded affirmatively. Did anyone happen to see, hear, or read anything about this case since we left here? Everyone said no. Thank you. Could we have Sergeant Buchanan again, please? And Mr. Jackson, you can go to the podium.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sorry about that.
Okay.
I spelled his name now without looking. I think I spelled it right.
Sergeant, I'll remind you, you're on the ropes. Thank you.
Good morning. All right, Mr. Jackson, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Sergeant.
Good morning.
Ask you, just to start off, at some course of your investigation, that a snowplow driver had reported having seen a Ford Edge being moved into a location in front of 34 Fairview sometime in the early morning hours of January 29th, 2022.
I think I spelled it wrong.
We learned about a plow truck driver. I don't believe his recollection was as you described, though.
Do you remember him mentioning a Ford Edge?
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember him saying that The Ford Edge had been moved. He had passed by. It wasn't there. At some point, he passed by again, and it was there, impeding his plow route.
Yes.
Okay. What is your best memory about when he said he believed the Ford Edge? Sorry, I guess a better way to put it is, when did he say he first saw the Ford Edge in place in front of 34 Fairview?
I don't remember exactly. I know it was during the middle of the night. My not adopting your narrative was the fact that he saw it being moved there.
Understood. I figured that. I clocked that as soon as I said it. He didn't see it moved. He saw it. He saw 34 Fairview without it there. Then about an hour later, it was there.
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Would about 3:30 in the morning sound right to you in terms of what he reported, in terms of the time that he saw it there?
It sounds right, but I'm not sure of the exact time. My report would reflect the accurate time.
Fair enough. Let me see if I can grab that report. Let me ask this. Well, it's a very lengthy report. Instead of making you sit there and wait, let me just ask this. Do you remember him saying that he had first plowed the area free of the Ford Edge? In other words, first passed in front of 34 Fairview around 2:30 in the morning? Does that sound right?
I believe his dispatch time for the plowing of the roads that evening was 2:30. But again, I would have to look at my report.
That's fine. And then it was sometime subsequent there too that he saw the Ford Edge in place, maybe an hour later.
Sounds about right. Again,
Okay. Did you take any investigative steps when you learned about this snowplow driver to determine who, if anyone, might have owned a Ford Edge associated with 34 Fairview?
I did not know.
Did your investigation ever reveal that the Albert family actually had a Ford Edge at the time?
Yes.
I want to shift gears for a second to One Meadows, if I could, and ring video evidence associated with One Meadows. You testified that on direct examination that there was no video from Ring at or around the time 12:36 a.m. When Miss Reed's SUV returned back to One Meadows. You remember that testimony?
Yes.
You did receive a search warrant returned from the Ring Corporation in furtherance of a search warrant executed by Trooper Proctor, correct? Former Trooper Proctor.
Evidence was returned by Ring. Yes.
And in addition to the actual video recordings, there was also an activity log that was returned associated with that time and that location from the Ring Corporation, correct?
There was a key log identifying each video that was provided by the time and date when the video was recorded. It's not an activity log per se for the account. It's strictly a key describing the video, telling you what time the video was recorded.
During the entirety of your investigation, was there any evidence uncovered at all that Ms. Reed had accessed the account information associated with that Ring account?
No evidence could be provided by Ring documenting that activity.
But there is evidence that someone had accessed the account through John O'Keefe's cell phone, correct?
I am not aware of that.
Are you aware that after John O'Keefe's cell phone was recovered by Massachusetts State Police, someone at Massachusetts State Police actually opened the Ring app on his cell phone?
Yes.
opened and accessed the Ring app on John O'Keefe's cell phone?
I'm not 100% sure.
I have just
Is
going
that
on.
the first
Yes.
trial? I don't remember that.
Would it refresh your recollection to take a look at a report, perhaps?
Yes.
May I approach?
Yes.
If you could take a look at that 3-page report and tell me if that refreshes your recollection. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Sergeant, having looked at this report, does that refresh your recollection as to that?
Yes, that report is after accessed.
StreamYard is being testy today for some reason. It can knock it off anytime now. Don't know what the problem is. We were fine a while ago.
Thank you, Sergeant. Have you had an opportunity to review that document?
I have.
Does it indicate that in addition to several other files, there is a login session report that was produced by the Ring Corporation as well? It's highlighted on that page.
Number 4 is highlighted with one Excel file containing login session information.
Thank you. May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you. And again, just to make sure I'm very clear about this, nothing from the Ring Corporation suggested or intimated that Ms. Reed actually accessed any of that Ring account information, correct?
The information provided did not indicate that, no.
Thank you. I want to ask you a couple of questions about your testimony on direct examination related to your trip to the hospital and your observation specific to Mr. O'Keefe's right arm. You indicated that you saw bruising on his right arm in addition to the abrasions, the parallel abrasions that you described, correct?
I believe bruising is very similar to abrasion.
Okay, that's my question. Can we,
Abrasion.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, can we show Exhibit 1? It's already been introduced. Is this a fair and accurate depiction of what you saw in terms of the condition of Mr. O'Keefe's arm while at the hospital, if not exactly like this?
Yes, it is.
Okay. What did you mean when you said you saw bruising on his arm? What were you talking about?
I actually indicated bruising on his right hand, the back of his right hand.
Okay, that fair enough. From his wrist, when I say arm, can we agree, at least for this purpose for the purposes of this discussion, that I mean from the wrist up to the shoulder?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see any bruising from the wrist to his shoulder?
I saw exactly what's depicted there with the abrasions and lacerations.
Okay. You know what lividity is, correct?
I do.
Okay. Describe for the jurors what lividity is.
Lividity is the pooling of blood inside the body as a deceased individual falls or is positioned naturally with gravity. Blood begins to settle in the lowest portions of the body. If you're laying face down, it'd be your face. It also contours to the imprint or the force that's exerted on the body from below. If someone's deceased on TV remote control, you can see the remote control, the buttons underneath from the pressure.
So it's a bluish, purplish discoloration of the skin, not from an impact, but from the pooling of blood after the heart stops, correct?
That's correct.
Do you see an area at the upper arm that the skin looks discolored in addition to the abrasions that we see?
I'm sorry, I was looking at that one.
Oh, sure. I'm sorry. Yes. Right up toward the upper biceps, triceps area.
I see that area, yes.
Okay. Is that consistent with lividity rather than bruising?
I would not agree with that, no.
You believe that that's a bruise?
I believe that that's a laceration.
I'm sorry. I'm talking about the discoloration of the skin, the reddish purplish hue of the skin, separate and apart from the abrasion, from the abrasions or lacerations to the skin. The discoloration. Do you see that discoloration or no?
I do not know.
You do not?
I do not know.
Okay, we can take that down. As you sit here today, you're not suggesting that you saw bruising from the wrist to the shoulder on John O'Keefe's arm?
Nothing that stood out to me.
Okay.
I observed lacerations and abrasions.
All right, thank you. I want to shift gears one more time and ask you about your trip to Dighton and the seizure of the SUV. You testified that you seized the SUV somewhere, I think your testimony on direct examination was somewhere around 4:15, 4:17, something like that, correct?
Yes, sir.
Does 4:12 sound like it could be a reasonable time that SUV was actually seized in Massachusetts State Police custody?
It could be reasonable. I'd have to refer to the video evidence that, and then also the exact time that we advised the defendant that we are going to be seizing it. I guess it could be argued that that's when it was seized. Even we had the intent to seize it right there.
Right. took the key fob, went outside, had a, pardon me, had a tow truck driver actually put it onto the back of a flatbed. Ultimately, it was transported, correct?
Correct.
And you became aware at some point that there was video evidence. You just referenced it. Video evidence of that, I'm going to call it seizure process. Is that right?
Yes.
And that video evidence had a timestamp on it, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You're also aware, as the supervisor of Michael Proctor, that he swore under oath in multiple affidavits in support of search warrants that the SUV was seized at 5:30 p.m., correct?
Yes.
And you knew at the time, because you were actually there, and you knew when the vehicle was seized, that stating under oath in an affidavit that it was 5:30 p.m. and not 4:12 p.m., that was a false statement, correct?
There's a discrepancy in time there. Yes.
Did you take any action, you yourself as a supervisor, did you take any action to correct that false or misleading state? Let me ask it a different way. Did you take any action to correct that time to the accurate time of 4:12 in any of the affidavits that you became aware of?
No. The actual time of the seizure through the video 30, although inaccurate, I did not take any action to correct it. No.
And you received that video as a production from the defense. You did not have access to that video, correct?
Yes.
And so at the time that Michael Proctor actually wrote and drafted these affidavits and swore to them under oath, he did not know that a video existed, correct?
Objection.
Sustained, you have to word it differently.
Sure. At the time that you, let me ask it a different way. At the time that you reviewed his declarations of oath, you did not know that it existed.
No, we did not know.
If I may have just a moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
I want to ask you about something that was brought up on direct examination. Sustained findings as it pertains to you. You've already talked about the fact that, Sergeant, you're a supervisor and were a supervisor back in January of 2022 moving forward over Trooper Proctor, correct?
Yes.
Generally speaking, as a supervisor, your job is to properly and professionally supervise, show some authority over those in your charge. Is that right?
Yes.
Michael Proctor was, in fact, a trooper in your charge.
Yes.
And you would agree that your supervision has a direct impact on the character and quality of the subordinate investigators that you supervise.
Yes.
The whole point of having supervision and a chain of command is to establish a certain amount of, for lack of a better phrase, quality control of the subordinates.
Yes.
That would also include quality control over the subordinates' investigations.
Yes.
On August 17th, 2022, you were in a group text with the following individuals: Michael Proctor, Trooper Kukowski, a lieutenant named Fanning, and a trooper named DiCicco, D-I-C-I-C-C-O, correct?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm handing you a document. Can you tell me if you recognize that document?
I recognize parts of it.
You saw that document on direct examination. I think you were shown the same document, correct?
It was different parts of it, but same. It's inclusive of within this document.
Okay. Let's start with this. You indicated that you did not see Michael Proctor's name on that document, correct?
Correct. His name is not on here.
But you do recognize that as being reflective, accurately reflective of the text chain that you were on August 17th, 2022, that group chat.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to do this a little bit backward, but bear with me. You do see the name Krakowski, correct?
I do.
You do see the name Fanning, correct?
I do.
You do see the name DeChico, correct?
I do.
And you do see the name Buchanan, correct?
No, it's misspelled, but I know they're probably referencing me.
Okay. The only other texter,
Dude, you
person
can't
texting on that chain
your name was
is
spelled.
a code, a lengthy, almost like a URL code with no name, correct?
Yes, you're right.
And
Yes.
the only person that I didn't name, whose name I did not read off, it's obvious on that document, is Michael Proctor, correct?
Correct.
So deductive reasoning tells you that that is the code is Michael Proctor. Is that right?
I would agree with you, yes.
Okay. In that text chain, it starts with Trooper DeChico sending a photograph, correct?
No.
May I approach?
Yes.
You turn to page 2683, please. Do you see a photograph there?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Fair enough. There were some texts between and among the group that preceded this photograph, correct?
Yes.
I want to start on this date, August 17, 2022, with this photograph. This photograph was sent by Trooper DeChico to the group, correct?
I don't remember a photograph in the text chain. Bro, that's because he's so stupid. Everything that comes out of
It
an obvious lie.
possibly appears that way. I really can't. I mean,
Your Honor, with the
Yes.
permission, I'm not sure this document has been marked. I'd like to have this marked and
Sure,
admitted.
we'll mark it for ID.
I'd actually like to have it marked and admitted. There's certain things I'd like to show.
What's the Commonwealth's position on that?
I have no objection to admission, but not in this form. It needs to be redacted.
Can you do it
what I intend to do, I can do with one photograph. If I may have a moment with counsel.
Okay.
May I have just a second?
Thank you.
With the court's permission, I'd like to publish just one page of what's been marked for identification. I'm sorry, I would ask that it be marked, the entire document be marked for identification.
You gonna need this?
It's exhibit FF for ID.
And with the court's permission, I would ask to display or to publish page 2683 of that document.
So are you admitting into evidence, page 263?
I would.
Do you have a separate one rather than tearing it out of what's been marked for
I can-
identification?
I can take it out of this copy.
And can you redact it before it's admitted, please?
It's been,
Exhibit 116.
yeah,
Yes.
thank you. Just so we're talking about the same thing, Sergeant, I've just handed you a page that's been marked Exhibit 116. Do you recognize that as being a copy of one of the multiple pages in the document that you're holding that's been marked for identification as FF?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if we could publish that single page, please.
Okay.
Is that a photograph that was sent by Trooper DeChico to the group?
According to this document, yes.
Who is depicted in that photograph?
The big story, Mr. David Yannetti, criminal defense attorney.
Oh, dang.
You
look
see that
how
person in court?
young.
Yes, I do.
Where is he seated and what is he wearing?
He's seated right there wearing a blue tie and a dark suit, white shirt.
Thank you. We can bring the lights up. Your Honor.
Okay.
In response to, and going back to the multi-page document FF, in response to Trooper DeChico's photograph that he sent to the group, you responded to that photograph, did you not?
Yes, this document indicates so, yes.
And you responded by laughing at it, correct?
That's what it says, yes.
Well, that's what it says, or that's what you did.
I don't remember.
Trooper Proctor then, former Trooper Proctor, Michael Proctor, then responded, correct?
That's what it says here, yes.
And he responded to the group, funny, I'm going through his retarded client's phone, correct? Michael Proctor then responded again. Is that right?
Yes.
He wrote, no nudes so far, correct?
That's what it says, yes.
Michael Proctor responded yet again. Is that right?
That's correct.
And in reference to Mr. Yannetti's photograph, he wrote, I hate that man. I truly hate him. Correct?
That's what it says.
There's a trooper by the name of Moore, M-O-O-R-E, correct?
There is.
And he disliked Trooper Proctor's phrase, his statement, no nudes so far, correct?
That's what it says.
Did that indicate to you that Moore was disappointed that Trooper Proctor, Michael Proctor, had not found naked pictures of Miss Reed as yet?
I don't know what that indicated for Mr. Moore.
And then you responded to the phrase, funny, I'm going through his retarded client's phone, correct?
I acknowledged that text message being sent.
You acknowledged it by liking it, correct? With a thumbs up.
I acknowledged it by responding with a thumbs up emoji.
The fact is, Trooper Proctor told you, his supervisor, in this series of text messages, that he was going through Miss Reed's phone. Is that right?
Correct.
And he also informed you, his supervisor, that he was going through her phone looking for nudes or naked pictures of her on her phone, correct?
He did not tell me that he was going through naked pictures, for naked pictures through the phone.
He wrote, no nudes so far, right?
That is what is written, yes.
What did you think he was looking for when he wrote that phrase?
I don't know what he was looking for.
What would be a reasonable interpretation of what Michael Proctor was looking for when he wrote, no nudes so far?
I don't know.
Motorcycles, handbags, pair of shoes, or naked pictures of Miss Karen Reed?
His mission was to go through the phone to look for digital evidence that's related to the crime. The fact that he wrote no nude so far, I cannot comment on.
You cannot comment on, or you don't want to comment on?
I don't know what he was looking for in that specific time.
You certainly did nothing. You took no action to stop him from potentially looking for naked pictures of my client, correct?
That's correct.
In fact, last week you testified that in your view, Michael Proctor handled himself in this investigation with integrity. That's what you said, correct?
That's correct.
Do you stand by that testimony?
The investigation was handled with integrity and honor.
Do you stand by your testimony that Michael Proctor conducted himself during the course of this investigation with integrity?
Yes, I do.
He also called her retarded, correct?
That is what's written.
That's what's written? That's a very passive way of saying it, Sergeant. That's what's written, or that's what he wrote?
That's what he wrote.
And that's what you read.
I have no memory of reading that. I acknowledged him going through the phone on my Apple Watch. I have no memory of him writing retarded on a text message.
And you'll agree that that is one of the most vile and insensitive and incendiary terms one could use in modern society. Retarded, correct?
That is correct.
And in fact, through your response to that vile phrase, you encouraged it because you liked it with a thumbs up, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you encourage that statement by Michael Proctor by liking it with a thumbs up?
I don't know if it encouraged him, but so I cannot speak to
But
that.
that's what you did.
I acknowledge the text message being sent.
I want to be clear. These text messages were sent to you by your direct report, by your direct subordinate, correct?
That's correct.
And there was even someone on that text chain who was more senior than you, Lieutenant Fanning, right?
That's correct.
Michael Proctor was both your partner and the lead investigator on this case when he wrote that, correct?
He's a subordinate, and he was the case officer.
This thread, text thread, contains communications between a subordinate, the person you call the case officer. By the way, let me ask you another question. Did you ever, during the course of the investigation in which you were a part, the sustained findings, the internal affairs investigation. Did you ever review Colonel Noble's determinations about your subordinate, Michael Proctor?
Objection.
Did you review them?
No, Your Honor, I did not.
Why can't you just say overruled?
What would Colonel Noble call Michael Proctor's title in this case? You think he'd call him the case officer or the lead investigator? What is your experience with Massachusetts State Police in that regard?
Objection.
Sustained.
What does MSP call him? That
Notwithstanding the fact that a subordinate was on this text chain and a supervisor to you, was Lieutenant Fanning one of your supervisors?
Yes.
Notwithstanding the fact that a subordinate on this text chain and one of your supervisors was a text chain, you enforcement to actually like when the subordinate refers to a suspect as retarded, correct?
I acknowledge the text message with a thumbs up emoji.
Do you believe that? Well, let me ask you another question, predicate question.
Respond appropriately.
You were also comfortable enough with that text chain to receive in your subordinate was looking for naked pictures on a suspect's phone, a woman, no less. Correct? You took no remedial action against Trooper Proctor for that, correct?
No, I did not. No.
Do you believe, as you sit here, that that was a misuse of power and authority by a Massachusetts State Police officer?
By myself or
No,
somebody else?
by Michael Proctor.
You wouldn't even say his name.
Misuse of what?
Misuse of authority and power to go through a suspect's phone, to get her phone using the authority and the power vested in that officer by the community members. That's the power that you derive, correct? You work for the public. Would you agree? Do you believe it was a misuse of his authority and power? Go through her phone and look for naked pictures of her.
Objection.
Sustained.
Do you believe it was a misuse of authority or power to go through her phone and potentially look for nudes?
Objection.
Sustained.
Let me ask it differently. Did you think his text was appropriate?
Just say
I don't remember reading that text.
As you
So
sit here now,
Just say
do
no.
you think that text is
Gee.
appropriate?
no, it is not.
Do you think
Here
it's
you go.
professional?
No, it is not.
Do you think it shows integrity?
That text message does not show integrity.
Do you think it shows honor? A word I expect you hold dear.
That text message does not honor.
On October 15th, 2022, you completed a performance review of Proctor, correct?
That's correct.
Specifically, you were asked to rank his, quote, oral and written communication skills, end quote, correct?
Correct.
That's part of an overall evaluation and performance review. Is that right?
Yes, overall 90-day, quarterly, annual review.
You were specifically asked to rank
You
whether he effectively would effectively communicate with others, both within and outside the department, in oral and written form, correct?
That's correct.
And you rated him as exceptional, a number 4 rating out of 5, correct?
That's correct.
You actually went on to write and comment on Michael Proctor, and you wrote, quote, Trooper
Yeah, Proctor was the lead investigator Yuri doesn't want to say it, but he was the lead investigator on this case. He jumped to conclusions right away that Karen Reed did this and nobody inside the house did it. And he just totally ignored it. He said lots of nasty things about Karen Reed to his high school friends on a text string. I think there were 2 text strings. I think there was one to the officers involved in the case and another one to his high school buddies. It's ridiculous. Like, you don't do that. Aside from the fact that the whole investigation was wonky, he decided to poke fun at her to his high school buddies. Like, he should have not been anywhere near this case.
Michael Proctor displays professional demeanor, composure, dignity, and respect during the performance of his duties, and especially during his interactions with the public. This is seen during interviews with witnesses, suspects, as well as victims and their families, end quote. That was a statement you wrote about Michael Proctor, correct?
That is correct.
And this is after the text chain that we've just been talking about, where he calls Miss Reed retarded and references looking for nude photographs of her, correct?
That is correct.
Was your statement in that evaluation true or false?
It was true.
You knew Michael Proctor's proclivities, obviously. He told them to you, correct?
The term proclivities, what
You
does that mean?
knew
Why
what
does
he
he have to
intended to do, what he wanted to do through his own comments, to look for nudes on a
Oh
woman's
my
phone,
God, Rob,
correct?
I didn't
Objection.
think of that.
You were aware, sir, that he had received evidence in a
Oh
case,
my God.
evidence that doesn't belong to him, belongs to the Massachusetts State Police, at least at that point, correct? Cell phone.
I was aware that he received a cell phone, yes.
And he used that power and the authority to go through that cell phone and look for nudes of my client, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
During the same course of your evaluation, you were also asked to evaluate his investigative ability, correct?
That's correct.
You rated him the highest standard in the Massachusetts State Police, outstanding, a 5, correct?
That's correct.
And you went on to write about Michael Proctor in the commentary below that rating to justify it. Is that right?
That is accurate, yes.
You wrote, quote, Trooper Proctor has had a high-profile caseload with a lot of eye and pressure from external sources during the first day of the investigation. He handled himself and all the case with utmost professionalism and competence. He is able to investigate his case thoroughly and with strict integrity, end quote. Correct?
Which quarterly review was this?
This is the same one, October 2022. Is that right? Those are your comments.
That sounds very accurate. I just was not sure which quarterly review that was for.
Professionalism.
Yes,
You believe that he acted in accordance with the highest standards of professionalism?
during his 90-day performance, yes.
And you didn't just say he displayed professionalism, you said utmost professionalism, correct?
Yes,
Competence? Do you
Yeah.
believe he displayed competence?
yes,
And not just in integrity, but he conducted himself, as you put it, with strict integrity. Is that right?
that is correct.
Did it show integrity in your view when your subordinate Michael Proctor called Miss Reed retarded?
Objection.
I'll allow that one.
I believe that as a U.S. citizen, he has the right to comment. That's his First Amendment right. We uphold the Constitution, and It's unfortunate, unprofessional what he said in the private text message communication. He might have been voicing his frustrations. I cannot speak for Michael Proctor. It is unprofessional and unfortunate that he said that.
This was not, Sergeant Buchanan, a private text message conversation. This was with his boss and 4 or 5 other individuals, one of whom was your boss, correct?
Correct.
This was a communication intended for and received by members of his unit in furtherance of his investigative authority, correct?
It was amongst members of the unit.
He was updating his boss about what he was doing in furtherance of the investigation, going through her phone, correct?
No, I would disagree with you on that. This was a group chain, text message chain that we were discussing private matters in our personal lives.
Private matters, including going through Miss Reed's phone?
That is unfortunately shared on that group text.
So in other words, to the public, he holds one face in private conversations with you and your colleagues within the unit. He shows a completely different face, private face, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
You said that you believe that he has a constitutional right, a First Amendment right, to call Miss Reed a suspect in his official investigation, in his official capacity as a Massachusetts state trooper, to call her retarded? That's your justification?
Objection.
Sustained.
Do you justify his statement, that vile statement?
I do not know.
Do you think it's appropriate, given the fact that he has a First Amendment right to say whatever he wants?
No, I do not.
Do you think there actually might be members of the community, parents, siblings,
Objection.
children?
Mr. Jackson, I'm going to exclude that question as argumentative. Move on.
You wrote in your report, if I may have a moment, Your Honor, you wrote in your report about his conduct. He shows composure, dignity, and respect during the performance of his duties, and especially during his interactions with the public. He has a duty to the public, to the community that he serves, correct?
Yes, he does.
Just like you have a duty to the public and the community that you serve. Is that right?
That is correct.
Do you think community members might take offense to the use of the
Objection.
word retarded?
Sustained. It's argumentative again, Mr. Jackson. Please don't do that.
He's right, though. You know, that used to be a medical term. We said that all the time in pediatrics.
He didn't just put it, that derogatory comment. He didn't just put it, or he didn't just say it, correct? You talked about the First Amendment.
Objection.
Sustained.
I'm not finished with my question, if I could.
All right, so just ask the question.
Sure.
No comments first, okay?
My question is, did he just say the word, or did he go further than just saying it?
Objection.
Okay, we've gone through this. Move on, please.
What? Why is that
The
wrong?
fact is, Sergeant, you put it in writing
I
and you
hate
liked
not
it,
saying
correct?
wrong.
I acknowledge the text message. I never saw the vile term.
So you say, we don't believe you, dude.
Your Honor, may we approach it just very briefly for a scheduling issue?
Okay, jurors, feel free to stand up and stretch.
For a scheduling issue? Why would you, for a scheduling issue in the middle of cross-examination? Yeah, we in pediatric nursing all the time, we would shorten cerebral palsy, mental retardation to CPMR. You know, we would say that the patient was CPMR, and sometimes they could have cerebral palsy but not mental retardation, or vice versa. So we would say, the kid has MR or the kid has CP. But it was usually they go hand in hand. So it was CPMR. Because if you're deprived of oxygen at birth, unfortunately, that's what happens. It's a medical, it would, I just always thought it was a medical term. I mean, but I guess you can't say it derogatory to somebody. I mean, because seriously, what else are you going to call those kinds of patients? And like you said, I know it's not used in a derogatory way when you're talking about it like a patient. Like, how else are you going to describe that? But if you're talking about a person that's not, then yeah, it's derogatory. I mean, I like the term delayed, but which is basically retarded and delayed kind of mean the same thing. I mean, in the actual sense of the word, you know. It would help if I push play, wouldn't it? What? What was that? Oh, come back. Dang, it went away. I just saw something that said Nintendo can break your Switch if you misbehave. What was that? I want to see that article again. Better not break my Switch. Oh my God. Amber Heard has twins now. Those poor kids. She named, oh my God. darkness and sun ocean. Luna's 4 now. Did she ignore? Probably not. What, Spike? Speaking of Spike, I need one more super chat. I'll show you guys a video. Spike, what are you barking at, honey? What? I guess they don't want to see your video, dude. That's okay. We'll just keep it to ourselves. They don't want to see how cute and funny and smart you are. Oh, we got another one. I guess we have to show them how cute and smart and funny you are. What do you want, baby? You gotta go outside? Okay, I'll be right back, guys. Come on, let's go outside. No, you want to go? Are you coming? Come on. Your speech. I'll have to film the yard monster speech one day. I don't know, because Canton was local. It was pretty. Yeah, we do, Carla. We do. They're not all bad. We have to remember that. You know, I feel sad for people that are raised that cops are bad, because there are bad ones, and unfortunately we rarely hear about the good ones. And I was taught, of course, because my dad was a cop, so I was taught the cops are good. And I was always taught if you're in trouble, find a cop, they will help you. And so people that don't have that assurance, what did they do when they get in trouble and need help? So I feel sad for people that are afraid of cops. And I know mostly minorities. And unfortunately, there's not anything we can really do about it because it happens. Like, wasn't there just a guy, or I don't know how many cops? Wasn't it like, I think Jill knows because it happened in Tennessee. Like 3 cops that beat a guy to death and they were just acquitted of, like, didn't they go to trial and were acquitted? Or did it even go to trial? There was just a case in Tennessee about some cops getting off after they killed somebody. Now, sometimes it's, they have to for their own safety. And, we watch body cam videos all the time of people just being stupid when a cop comes to their window, like, and a lot of times the fact that the person is already afraid of the police is what escalates it. So it's like a vicious circle. It's like, they go to a car and then they're like, they stop a car for whatever. And then the person is, well, I'm afraid of cops. I don't feel safe. And because of that, then the cop doesn't feel safe. So then the cop says, step out of the car. And then the person doesn't step out of the car. And then they're like, well, step out of the car. I'm going to pull you out of the car. And then it's like a vicious circle. It just escalates. And then the person's like, oh, well, I was right to be afraid. So it doesn't help matters. It just proves their point that I was right to be afraid of the cops. But no, if you will just be chill and do what the cop says, you get your ticket and you're on your way. So, idea. Okay, I'm gonna shut the door because he doesn't know how to shut a door. Okay, I am going to pause this because as soon as I start to play this video, they will be back. So, set our goal. Thank you guys. If my computer will bring it up. Thank you to everyone that sent me a super chat. Okay. Guys ready? Hey, Spike. You want some popcorn? Do you want some popcorn? You do? Yeah? Are you sure? Yeah? Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Hey, Spike. You want some popcorn? Do you want some popcorn? You do? Yeah? Are you sure? Yeah? He nodded his head yes. Are you sure? Are you sure? Belle. Hey, Spike. You want some popcorn? Are you sure? Yeah? Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? That's my baby boy. Belle heard it. Now she's looking around. Where's popcorn? Paying attention. And he was trying to get my attention to give him more popcorn, and he was doing this weird, funny thing, trying to get my attention. And so I couldn't, like I was talking to Travis, so I couldn't film him at the time. And then Travis, and I cracked up. So then when Travis left the room, I kept trying to get a good video of him doing funny stuff, and that was the best one I could do. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I had watched Runkle do something with his dogs. Like, I'll give them a treat if you do so. So I wanted to see if you guys would do it. Thank you very much. Are they back yet? I guess, as they usually do, they have combined the sidebar with the morning break. I hate when that's so rude. Can you not give people some notice? Belle likes popcorn too, but she doesn't get excited about it. And she eats a few handfuls and then she's done. Spike would eat the paper it comes in. And you should see him when I pop it on the stove. It's just like That could have been the scheduling issue. Judge, I gotta go to the bathroom. When I pop popcorn on the stove, he's right there eyeballing it the whole time, just like he did with those tacos last week. I think, I don't know. The thing with microwave popcorn is it's like it's got, I don't know how to explain it, like a waxy kind of quality to it. Like you feel like you get this film on your teeth from it. And the crunch isn't as crunchy. Like I don't even know how to explain it. But I've noticed a difference between like fresh popped, like regular, and I've made popcorn in my Instapot. Yeah, it's weird. Um, it works really well in the Instapot because you don't even really need to shake it that much in the Instapot. Because it doesn't really burn. But I'm thinking about getting one of those whirly pops. I'd never heard of it before, but I watch on BuzzFeed Unsolved, and now he has his own YouTube channel called Watcher. Ryan Bergara, I almost call him Bugara. Bergara. He loves popcorn, and well, and so does Shane Madej. They do everything together. They're best friends. And actually, Shane gave me a tip on how to get all the kernels to pop, and I'll be darned if that didn't work. You put the oil in first, and then you just put a couple kernels in there, and you let them pop. And then when they pop, you add all the other kernels. Oh, you know them too? Oh, cool. Ryan's my favorite. I mean, I love them both, but Ryan's my favorite. But yeah, and I was watching them the other day talking about popcorn, and they said whirly pop. I'm like, what the heck is a whirly pop? So I looked it up on Amazon. Oh my gosh, I got to get one of those. So I'm thinking about getting a whirly pop. Yeah, I love the Ghoul Boys. That's what I did all weekend mostly, was just watch their videos. Some of the old ones, because now, I don't know, I guess I shouldn't make suppositions, but they play, Jill told me this, they play like BuzzFeed Unsolved has like a live 24-hour live of them, and then they also show like 3-hour blocks of their old stuff. I do watch Watcher. That's where they were talking about the whirly pop. Oh, you watch them too? Oh, wow. It's so weird how we all like the same things. Yeah, on one of the podcasts they were talking because Shane had this video of like, I guess it's the method that they use in China to pop popcorn. It's this like, it's like a pewter goblet looking thing, and I hate having the camera off while I'm talking to you guys. I don't know why. I just feel like I'm talking to myself if my camera's off. It's like a pewter goblet. It's like, and it's real small. It's it's like a little pewter goblet, but the walls of it are really, really thick. And he poured the kernels in there, the guy in the video. He poured the kernels in there, and the walls are super thick. And there's a hole in the side of it. And the top of it, it almost looks like a miniature beer stein, only like goblet shaped. And he flipped the top and it screws down, which that kind of confuses me a little bit because it's actually screwed down and clamped on. And then the little hole, he puts it on like like sideways on a spit thing. And then he put the heat underneath it. It has like a pressure gauge on the end. And then spins it on the heat for not very long at all. And then takes it off, puts it in a bag, but there's like a rod he sticks in that hole. And when he pushes it in, it releases the lid. That's why I said it screws. You would think if that rod pops it open, that would like strip the screws on the screw top, right? But so it's really weird. But when he does that, it pops it open. So like thing, I can't remember if it spins that way or that like around. And so the kernels get hot, and then when he jams the stick and opens it, and the air hits it, they immediately pop, and then it falls into that bag. It was the coolest thing. But they said it looks like before it's burnt, like it's brownish, and they're like completely round. They're not like floured out. You know how popcorn looks like flowers, like floury. Um, yeah. If it would load. They do all kinds of stuff. There's Puppet History. That's one of my favorites. Puppet History is, but it's like a quiz show too. But it's like weird history. It's like the flood was it in Boston? My favorite one is the chick that worked for White. The White cruise line, and she was on all three of their ships, and all three of the ships sank, and she survived all three.
You are unmuted.
Of course.
So this is simply the wrong witness for that. So, all right, I think the jurors are, no,
Come on, StreamYard. Go back big again. Okay, guys, we might crash. Oh, I never tried. I don't like air popcorn. I know I should be eating air popcorn. I'll send you the link, Carla. StreamYard is being weird. I'm trying to fix it so I'm not bigger than the short piece, but it's being big. So we're either gonna crash or it's gonna take its own and fix itself. StreamYard, come on. They don't want to watch me, they want to watch the trial.
Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Or during that interview, did Michael Proctor discuss with you a previous relationship that he and or his family had with Chris and Julie Albert or their family?
Yes, as we're walking up to them from, he knows of them from around town and through friendship.
Did that cause you any concern that the case officer that had been assigned to the case, dealing with obviously familiarity or relationship with any members of the Albert family?
Yes, I followed up asking him if he hangs out with these people, how well he knows them. And he stated that he does not hang out with them. They're not his friends. He just happens to know them through people in town.
Did he tell you any specifics about communications he had related to? Did he tell you any specifics about communications he had, Michael Proctor?
No.
Did he volunteer any information about the relationship that he might have or his family might have, including his wife, with Chris and or Julie Albert?
That information did not come up.
Did you ever later learn, now I'm taking it outside of your conversation with Michael Proctor, did you ever later learn about friendship or connection that he and his family, Michael Proctor's family, had with Chris and Julie Albert or the Albert family?
I've learned of accusations. I don't know the extent of how familiar they are.
What accusations have you learned?
Through trial or through court proceedings.
Right. What are they? Would give me the nature of what you've learned.
Objection.
Learn of these of this information.
That was July of 2023, I believe.
And what were the circumstances in which you gained this knowledge? How did you learn about it?
There were accusations that Michael Proctor were friendship with these individuals, but the accusations were not factual.
Did you learn any specifics?
Of
The allegations? Did you use the word allegations? Or I think you used the word accusations.
yes,
Where there said that there, what were some of the specifics?
Objection.
Sustained.
Well, by the way, did you say that you learned of these accusations during the last proceeding in this case?
not the last proceeding. I
Or a
said
prior proceeding in this case?
it was through court proceedings.
Okay, how did you learn that specifically, Sergeant? Did you watch some of the proceedings? Were they televised? Did someone report it to you, what were the circumstances?
I was present in court.
This was what year? 2020, 2023.
Yes.
And did you take any action to investigate further the accusations that you said came up in 2023?
No. Well, yes, I did. Yes.
Okay, what did you do in that regard? What were the accusations and what did you do to investigate?
That it was not factual. So
Okay, you're using the word information. Help me out. Details. What did you learn?
there was claims that
I object.
May we approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
So that channel has puppet history, like I just said. It has Ghost Files, where they go ghost hunting. It has Are You Scared, where they tell scary stories. It has what is the name of the one where they sit around the campfire and get drunk and tell stories? Something spirits. Too Many Spirits. That one's hilarious. And then there's others. There's one where they rate stuff. There's one where they make cocktails based on things like favorite cereals and stuff like that. There's one where they try to make like the most expensive hamburgers and stuff. They're just goofing off basically, but it's just funny stuff. They used to do one where they would go to like unusual places, like theme parks, unusual places like that, but they didn't do a lot of those. Weird, wacky, wonderful, or something like that. But they're just so funny. The new season of Ghost Files starts Saturday. I'm so excited. But they do like one show at a time. So like they'll do like a season of Ghost Files, and then a season of Puppet History, and then a season of Are You Scared, and then a season of Too Many Spirits. Like, and most seasons are like 4 to 6 episodes before then they move on to the next thing. No, I haven't seen that one. That Jill was telling me that's her favorite story too. I missed that one. I need to find it. I think I missed a season of that one. I liked it when they first brought Ricky on the Too Many Spirits, and like Steven acted like all butthurt because they brought a real. That was funny.
Final question, Sergeant. I think I asked this, but let me make sure I'm clear. Your interview along with Michael Proctor with Chris and Julie Albert was February 10th, 2022, correct?
I believe so.
Okay.
I'm not certain on that, but I believe it was.
Okay. Well, let me just clear that up real quick. Would it refresh your recollection to look at your report?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Does that refresh your recollection, Sergeant?
Yes, sir.
What was the date?
February 10th.
Thank you. Okay. I want to move to back to Canton PD. Did you at some point recover some videos or a series of electronic data that purported to be videos from Canton PD in furtherance of your investigation?
Yes.
And to whom did you deliver these videos, and whom were they requested by?
The initial request was by Michael Proctor. I delivered them to him.
Okay. Since that delivery, have you seen these videos?
Yes, I have.
Okay. No, I'm holding a flash drive that I'd like to have, with the court's permission, I'd like to have marked as next in order for introduction, but I'll play the first couple of seconds of it and just establish the foundation first with the court's permission.
Have you shown it or discussed this with Mr. Brown?
I just discussed it with Mr. Brennan at the break.
What's the Commonwealth's position? I have no idea what it is.
Sure, we can mark, yes. Mr. Brennan said he'd like to review them before they get entered into evidence. We can mark it for ID for purposes of this examination.
I don't expect I'll object. I just want to review.
Okay, so we'll mark it for identification, please, Madam Court Reporter.
Exhibit GG for identification.
Just to establish the foundation so we know what we're talking about, did you see on some of the electronic devices that you picked up in furtherance of this investigation video of somebody outside? Now we're the outside cameras or outside camera view at Canton PD at about 1:30 in the morning on January 29th, 2022.
The digital video, one of the collection items. It wasn't a device. It was, well, I guess it is a device, but digital storage that was collected had video from external view of the PD. I do not remember specifically seeing an individual, but
Okay.
I did
Do you
review
remember
it.
being of the parking lot area, at least one of them, one of the clips being of the parking lot area outside Canton PD?
I don't remember seeing outside parking lot. I'd have to see it.
I understand. Do you remember another clip being of the outside Sally Port? There's a pedestrian door, not the big roll-up door, but pedestrian door, someone going in and out of the pedestrian door?
I know the view you're talking about, but specifically what you're saying, I would have to see the video, tell you if I saw it or not.
And I'm asking a couple of these other questions. I think I may know what the answer is. There's another, do you remember another video in the internal corridor, looking down a hallway, seeing someone walking up or back?
Yes,
Do you
yes,
remember that one?
I do.
Okay, and then one on the outside, again, sort of passing from right to left, may not be intended to a parking lot, but at least an outdoor view of someone moving from frame right to frame left across the camera angle.
I don't remember that.
You do remember that all these videos, I just mentioned four, we've talked about four, these videos were from January 29th, 2022, around generally 1:30, 1:45, 2 o'clock in the morning?
I'm sorry, I don't remember the exact time and date. I just remember seeing the file and reviewing it.
Do you remember Mr. Proctor asking for video attendant to January 29th? At least can we narrow it to that date?
From Canton PD?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So these are all from January 29th, 2022. You just don't remember the specifics of them. It's been too long since you've seen them.
I don't know when each video was collected and then reviewed.
Okay.
Exactly.
With the court's permission, well, may I have just a moment to confer with counsel?
Okay.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, I'd ask that what's been marked as GG, at least the first video be published for the jurors.
All right, so there are 4 videos on this flash drive?
One video, 4 different camera angles as it's set from the one video.
Are you ready to see this now? I thought you wanted to review it.
I'll agree, and if I have a problem, I'll let the court know. I have no problem.
All right, so for the first one, the first camera angle?
Correct.
Okay,
It's one video, but 4 different angles.
all right. We just have to keep a record. That's why I'm
Understood.
asking all these
It's a little
questions.
complicated. I get it.
All right, we can do that.
Thank you. And this is, Your Honor, just for the record, actually, let me do it this way. Sergeant, would you agree that we can call this the rear lot main side at Canton PD, just for identification purposes?
Sure, if you'd like. I don't know which side this is, so I can't argue with you about the location. So
Okay.
I'll agree with you that we can call it that.
Great. It looks like a parking lot. There's cars.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, just for purposes of, so it doesn't get complicated, we'll call this rear lot main side. That doesn't mean anything unless you adopt it. So just for identification purposes.
Thank you.
If we could move to runtime 1:26:32. Okay, with the court's permission, may I play it at this point?
Okay.
Thank you. Stop. Did you see a car pass in front?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What kind of car did that look like to you?
It looked like a 2-door Jeep Wrangler with a plow on it.
Okay, let's go ahead and play it. Okay, stop. Sergeant, did you, during the course of your investigation, learn whether or not anybody associated with your investigation had a 2-door Jeep Wrangler with a plow on it?
Yes.
Who is that?
Mr. Brian Higgins.
Okay, thank you. Let's go ahead and play this. Okay, stop. Sir, do you see a person who appears to have alighted from the car,
Yes.
from the Jeep? Sergeant, if you could turn your attention to the screen on the right. Does that appear to be the location of the person that you're describing?
That's the individual that came out of the vehicle, yes.
Okay. I know it's super blurry. You may not be able to at this point. Do you know who that is?
I do not know.
Okay. Let's go ahead and play it.
Yeah, you can't tell, but you know who it is.
Okay, stop. All right. Did you see the person walk off the screen?
Yes.
Did it appear that that person had something in his or her hands?
Possibly, yes.
Okay. May I have a moment, Your Honor?
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. If we could play the second clip on this same GG. Before this is played, Sergeant, do you recognize what's depicted in this photograph?
I do not know.
Okay. Let's go ahead and play this. Stop. What do you see on the video at this point?
An individual crossing the frame with a couple of cars parked, one of which has a plow on it.
Does it look like an exterior video?
Yes.
Does that appear to be an exterior video if you don't know exactly where an exterior video of Canton PD?
From the facilities, yes.
Okay. And describe the person that you see in the foreground at the bottom of the screen.
Appears to be wearing a black sweatshirt, a hooded sweatshirt.
Larger in stature, smaller in stature, can you tell?
I'd be speculating because there's no comparison, but possibly larger. I don't know.
Okay, let's go ahead and play it. And that's it for that. Your Honor, if we could play the next video. By the way, can we agree before we move off of this, just for identification purposes, can we agree to call this rear lot cruiser side as opposed to rear lot main side, just to keep them separate?
Same as last time. I'm not aware familiar where that camera is, so I cannot argue with you nor adopt. But if for identification purposes only, we can agree on that.
Can you see from where you are? I know the answer to this. Can you see from where you are the timestamp on the bottom of this?
No.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, it's very, very small. Is it possible to ask the witness to adjourn from the witness stand just to get close enough to see if you can read the?
You can't increase the size of it?
Maybe we can. I'm not the tech guy. Mr. Wolk? Magic. Wow. I didn't even know he could do that. Okay. Can you read that?
Yes, it says rear lot cruiser side.
Okay. What about the time?
The timestamp reads 1:27:41.
Do you see a date?
Yes.
What is that date?
1/29/2022.
Thank you. This was my fault. Your Honor, if we could move back to rear lot main side, I'd like to do the same thing. I failed to ask for the time and date on that one. Mr. Wolk, if you could, please. Is it possible to see from there the time and date?
Yes, the time is 1:27:32 a.m. and the date is 1/29/2022.
Thank you. Okay, if we can move to the third clip. If we could start, Mr. Wolk, by enhancing with the court's permission the time and date. Let's just start with that. Do you see what the timestamp designates this camera angle to be?
It appears to be church side. And I can't read the third word there.
Exterior?
Oh, yes, exterior. Sally Port.
Okay, and if you could tell the jurors what you see in terms of the time and date.
The time is 1:27:43 a.m. and the date is 1/29/2022.
Thank you. Mr. Wolk, if you could play that with the court's permission.
Okay.
Stop. Do you see a person in that video?
I do.
Although it's somewhat blurry, can you describe that individual for us, please?
Individual wearing dark clothing, possibly. That's the best I could do, really.
Okay. Does it appear, given what you've seen in terms of the time of the main side, cruiser side, and now this exterior church side, does that appear to be the same person moving through on the outside of Canton PD?
It does, yes.
Okay. And what are we looking at here, by the way? What is this door he's about to walk into?
I'd be guessing. I was never present on that side of the Sally Port.
Understood.
I don't know.
Let's go ahead and play this. Okay. And for the final clip. If we could go down to the timestamp and date. A little bigger, Mr. Walk, if you could. Can you see what that is designated as that camera angle?
Yes, it says first floor corridor, and the time is 1:28:03 a.m. on the 29th of January, 2022.
Okay. Is this the corridor version or video that you did have some recollection of?
Yes, this is, yes.
Okay, if we can go ahead and play this. Stop. Do you recognize the person in this video?
It appears to be Mr. Brian Higgins.
Okay, and what is he wearing? Describe it for the jurors.
Black sweatshirt with some sort of logo on the front. It appears to be blue jeans and shoes with a white trim.
And is the hood up or down on the sweatshirt?
It's up.
Okay, let's go ahead and play this. May I have just a moment? Could you pause this, Mr. Wolf?
Yeah, that's Brian Higgins. He said he had to go back to the news.
Can you make note
The blizzard.
of the time as it's paused right here?
The time is 1:28:16 a.m.
Okay, and if we could just continue playing this video. It is playing. Stop. Now, if you could take a look at the time now. Okay, what's that time?
1:29:42
Okay.
a.m.
And if we could go ahead and go forward. Is it still playing, Mr. Wolk? Okay. If we could take a look at the time one more time.
Now it's, you want me to say it?
Yes, sir.
1:34:12 a.m.
And in the time, just so the record's clear, in the time between you saying 1:28:16 to 1:34:12, 6 minutes has not gone by, correct?
Just under 6, I believe, yeah.
Well, 6 minutes for us in real time,
Oh, in real time, yeah, no.
it is not. So it
Sorry.
appears that the camera jumped, or the time jumped.
The time difference on what was displayed is approximately 6 minutes, yes.
Okay, which is much longer than the time we've actually been looking at the video, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so it appears that it may be motion activated and it just jumped.
That's a possibility, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and continue playing this. And stop. Do you see someone in the screen now?
Yes.
And one more time, I know this is laborious, one more time if we could clock the time. Can you see that?
No, it's really blurry for me.
There we go.
Yes. Now I can see it 1:34:15, if I'm not mistaken, a.m.
Okay, fair enough. And let's go ahead and play this all the way through. Okay. Who did that appear to be walking away from the camera in this shot?
I'm not certain. I would be suspecting or guessing if I gave you an answer, but I'm not certain who that is.
as best you can determine, does he have the same stature? I know you can't see his face. Same stature, same clothing, jeans, shoes with white stripe around it, dark hooded sweatshirt. Does he appear to be the same person as Brian Higgins?
It does appear that way, yes.
Okay. Is that it? Okay. There's one more clip that I'd ask you to look at on this same GG device. Okay. What do you see in this video?
Appears to be the church side sally port, and an individual came out of the door.
Okay. And can we highlight the time, please, or increase the size? What time do you see there?
1:34:40 a.m.
Okay. If we go ahead and play this through. Pause. Does it appear from this video that the person has anything in his hand?
I'm sorry, can you play that again? I wasn't looking at the hand,
Oh,
but
sure, sure.
I really can't tell.
Okay. There should be another video of the rear lot cruiser side. Let's take a look at that. Pause. What do you see in that video?
It appears to be an individual wearing a black beanie hat, black dark colored sweatshirt with some design on it, and something illuminating by his face.
Can we enhance the time, please? What time is that?
It says 1:34 and 53 seconds in the morning, a.m.
And if you could move the screen over to the individual. Mr. Wold. Does that appear to be the same person?
It could possibly be, yeah.
And does it appear as something in his hands up to his face, the right side of his face or ear?
Yes.
What do you think that is?
It's consistent with a cellular device, possibly a phone or a tablet.
Okay. If we can move on, please. Play that through. And I believe there's one more video. And Your Honor, this one is a little longer. This is about 10 minutes.
Okay.
With the court's permission, I'd like to play this through. Okay, stop. Do you see a person in the video walking from screen right to screen left?
Yes.
Did that person appear to have something in his right hand?
I can't tell. I can't see his right hand.
Okay. When he first walked into the screen, could you tell?
I couldn't. No, I'm sorry.
Mr. Wold, could we back that up with the court's permission about 2 seconds? Stop. Did it appear to have something in his hand?
It's a possibility, yes.
Okay. And just for, I'm going to ask you for 2 times when we start and when we stop. What's the time on this video at this point when he walks into frame?
1:35 and 8 seconds in the morning, a.m.
Okay. And let's go ahead and play this through. Pause it, please. Sergeant, at this point, do you see a person walking into the frame into the video from frame left to frame right?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Can you pause it? Did you see something happen with the vehicle next to the Jeep in the last few seconds?
Yes.
What was that?
It appears as though the headlights are activated.
Okay, let's go and play it. Okay, pause it. You see a person that is walking from screen right to screen left in the middle of the screen?
Yes, he just or she just appears to have closed the door on that vehicle next to the plow.
Okay. And walking toward which vehicle?
The one on the furthest on the left.
Okay. From what you've seen, Sergeant, that you said he or she, does that person appear to be consistent with the video that we've seen in other particulars of Brian Higgins?
As far as I could tell from here, he The individual accessed Brian Higgins' vehicle, so I'd be speculating with the whiteout conditions or near whiteout conditions. It's tough to tell.
But no reason to believe it's anybody other than Brian Higgins accessing Brian Higgins' vehicle.
No,
Okay.
no.
Let's go ahead and play it.
I wonder if we're going to get anybody else today, too. Gee.
And what do you see Brian Higgins or that person doing now?
They accessed the vehicle on the far left.
Okay. And where's that person going?
Now they're accessing the Jeep Wrangler.
Rule of completion.
Can you pause it?
Play the whole video.
Where does that individual appear to be now in the video?
Last I could tell, they might be by the Jeep Wrangler.
Before that person got to the Jeep Wrangler, was he standing by the vehicle on the far left, SUV or truck?
It appeared that way, but with the heavy whiteout snow that night, I can't tell exactly what they were doing.
Did you see anything in his hand, like a bag or a satchel or a duffel bag or something when that person walked from this vehicle over to the Jeep?
I did not notice, no.
Go ahead.
It's always been suspicious that he went to Canton PD in the middle of the night.
Now, has that person walked off screen to the left?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you see that person entering screen from screen left?
Yes.
What did you just see the person do?
They were carrying possibly like a snow broom, walking from left to right.
And what do you see happening now?
The Jeep Wrangler is leaving the spot it was parked in.
Okay, we can take that down. Oh, I'm sorry. I failed to ask you the time. I promised I would do it and I forgot again. Can we look at the time real quick?
Yes, the time for the rear lot main side is 1:45:52.
And it appears that's the approximate time that the Jeep Wrangler drove off.
Approximately, yes.
Okay, thank you. In 20, well, are you friends with Brian Higgins?
I am not.
Do you know Brian Higgins?
I know who he is, yes.
Have you ever socialized with Brian Higgins?
Like out on private time?
Go out, have a beer.
No.
See him at a bar. Hey, Brian, let's grab a beer. Nothing like that?
No.
How long have you known Mr. Higgins?
I'd be speculating. It's before this case. He was a law enforcement individual that worked in the area. So I've had cases where he assisted on and that I've assisted on.
Would you consider yourself to have a professional relationship with him?
I knew who he was. So yes, I would consider a professional relationship.
But you would not consider your relationship to have gone over to the personal relationship? You don't
Not at all.
socialize, do any
No.
private
No.
get-togethers?
No.
Okay. You would agree that this video pretty clearly shows, at least at one point, around 1:34 a.m., Brian Higgins was on his phone.
Is that the one that he has the device by his face?
Correct.
It appears that way, yes.
And just to be clear, when you interviewed Mr. Higgins, he did not volunteer to give you his phone, correct?
He did not volunteer it, no.
And you didn't seek his phone through a warrant or any other mechanism?
I did not know.
Do you have any personal knowledge as to the status of that phone as we sit here today?
The one that he got the extractions from?
Correct.
No idea, no.
I want to shift gears to another series of videos. Last year at another proceeding, you were asked about a couple of videos from the interior Sallyport garage at Kenton PD. So now we're going
What's
to
the
move to the interior.
imported video?
You remember those series of questions and answers that you gave?
Generally,
Okay. You were asked at another proceeding to describe when the SUV, Miss Reed's SUV, first arrived at the Sallyport garage around 5:30 or so, correct?
based on my recollection of it first arriving or what we were viewing?
What you were viewing.
I'm objecting to this.
Ask it differently, Mr. Jackson.
Do you remember being asked a series of questions concerning the arrival of the SUV, just in general?
But I remember that it happened. I don't remember the exact questions, what my answers were.
And you remember seeing a video about which you were asked questions concerning the arrival of that SUV, pulling into the Sallyport, who was who, what the time frame was generally. Do you remember that colloquy, that discussion?
I remember it taking place. Yes.
Colloquy means.
That was Mr. Lally asking you questions, correct?
I believe so.
You know.
Under questioning by the Commonwealth, you were asked whether the video that you were looking at fairly and accurately represented the SUV arriving at the Sallyport garage, correct?
Yes.
And you indicated, in fact, it did fairly and accurately depict the arrival of the SUV at the Sallyport garage. Is that right?
That's correct.
I'd like to ask you a question about that particular video. You have it, Dave? John, I'm holding a flash drive. May I approach?
Yes.
I'm gonna have just pull it up. May I have a moment to consult with counsel?
Paul, the lunch is here. Jers, you know what? Let's take the luncheon break.
Thank you.
Sure, right this way, please.
Be back when? Be back when?
Do is have the voir dire right now to see what Sergeant Buchanan knew regarding that line of testimony you wanted to get into. So let's do that now, and then you can all work out the video issues.
Yes, okay. May I inquire briefly?
Yes.
Thank you. Sergeant, we were talking before the jury left, we were talking a little bit about the conversation that you had with Michael Proctor, either during or just before or just after that first interview with Chris and Julie Albert. What I'd like to ask you is, what information did you have and what did you ultimately learn about their relationship? You said there were some accusations and we never really got to the heart of it. What did you know and what did you do to investigate? Or what did you learn?
What I knew as we were walking up to the door is that he had knowledge of the individuals prior to us conducting the interview. I asked him if he knew them personally. My words, do you hang out with them? Do you socialize with them? He said, no, I do not. I said, are you comfortable doing this interview? And he said, yes. And me being a complete outsider and his supervisor and realizing if there was any impropriety that I would step in and recognize it, report it, and act on that. The interview was conducted without issue and we moved on.
As a matter of fact, one of the things in Trooper Proctor's report, it said the report started with following formal introductions. Did that suggest to you that Trooper Proctor had no knowledge of who Chris or Julie Albert were from a personal standpoint?
Not at all. I believe maybe I wrote the report, or was it him?
Yes, I think it is you. I think it is
Yeah.
you.
So
May I approach one?
Yes.
Just so you have it.
thank you. Yeah. Since I authored the report, I wrote following formal introductions since I've never met them before.
Okay, so that was more attended to you than to Michael Proctor.
Correct.
Okay, but the report does say we introduced ourselves, basically. Following formal introductions.
Greeted, but I had formal introductions to them. I've never met them before in my life.
You said that subsequently you learned about your word, accusations that had been made concerning possible relationship between Michael Proctor and the Alberts. What was that information that you learned?
When was it? I need that.
When did you learn it? I thought you said 2023, but I could be wrong. When did you learn that?
It was during, I believe, during the July motion proceedings when you guys had pictures up of children.
July of what year?
I believe 2023.
Okay. And what was it that you learned in July of 2023 about the potential?
The accusations?
Yeah.
That those were Albert's or McCabe's kids in the photograph with Michael Proctor.
Okay. Did you ever learn about personal communications that Michael Proctor or his wife may have had with any of the Albert family, including Julie Albert?
Ever?
Ever?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me when you learned that and what you learned in that order.
Well, Michael Proctor had communicated with those individuals, Elizabeth Proctor and communicated with those individuals due to the harassment that they've sustained.
Okay.
So with the crazy behavior that's been, imposed on them, and the torturous harassment that they've endured, the traumatic experiences they had to live through, they've communicated. So I've learned about that, yes. I was taking in all of that evidence, hundreds and pieces of evidence that I've archived in order to
Go ahead. In order to?
investigate it.
Okay. You're talking about Elizabeth Proctor well after the fact of the interview and the incident in 2022. That's what you were just describing.
It was after the harassment
Okay.
started, yes.
Which is well after January 29, 2022, correct?
January 20, yes, it is.
Okay. I'm asking about information related to a relationship prior to January 29, 2022. Did you ever learn about a pre-existing relationship that may have existed between the Proctor family and the Albert family before January 29, 2022, and maybe a couple of days after?
All I know is that there was a relationship explanation provided by Mr. Lally during one of the motions, and it was like 6 degrees separated by individuals residing in the community, living in the community, raising their kids in the community, working in the community, so making them community members and having relationship within that. I don't know the extent of those relationships.
Okay. Did you, during that hearing where you said there were pictures of the kids and et cetera, that July 2023 hearing, did you see a Facebook post during the course of that hearing wherein the Albert family called the Proctor family their second family, or vice versa, where the Proctor family, Michael Proctor's mother, they've called the Alberts their second family? Remember that Facebook post?
I don't remember seeing that post. I just remember there were like a picture of kids that weren't Michael Proctor's kids.
Okay, but you were in court that day.
I was in court in July. I believe it was 23rd of July, for
Okay.
the motion, yeah.
Leaving aside the photographs that you've talked about, did you see the post, the Facebook post about those two families, specifically Michael Proctor's mom, saying that the Alberts were their, quote, second family?
I don't remember seeing that post.
That didn't strike you, or that was not in your brain, in your head?
I don't think I've ever seen a post like that. So I just remember seeing the post of the kids. I
What
believe
about,
it was Miss Little that was holding up the poster.
what about the text messages, or what about any text messages between Michael Proctor and his sister concerning Julie Albert, very specifically concerning Julie Albert? Are you aware of those?
No.
Have you ever seen a text message between between Courtney Proctor and, Courtney Proctor, and my where the sister says, Julie wants to give you a gift, meaning this is an investigation. Are you aware of that?
No,
Are you aware of a text message in which Michael Proctor responds, get it for my wife? Meaning, if you're going to give us a gift, get the gift for my wife.
no idea.
Okay. Are you aware of a series of text messages between and among Michael Proctor and Elizabeth Proctor in which they talk about, I'm sorry, between Michael Proctor and Courtney Proctor, in which they talk about Julie Albert? This is 10 days before the incident, 10 days before January 29th, so mid-January, where they talk about the possibility of Julie Albert babysitting for Michael Proctor and Elizabeth Proctor's kids.
I am not aware of those text
This is the
messages.
first you've heard of any of those.
Of these text messages?
The text messages
Yeah.
that I'm describing, have you ever heard of any of those?
No.
Okay. Did you ever talk to or investigate the circumstance of the possibility, even the remote possibility, that Michael Proctor may have had a relationship with the Alberts that you were unaware of?
No, I never investigated anything like that.
So after your initial conversation with Mr. Proctor, where he said, I know of these people, and you said, is there any issue with you going forward? And he said, no, there's no issue. You took no further steps after that to investigate that relationship. And I'm talking about the relationship that existed on or around January 29th, 2022, not in 2023, not in 2024.
Once Michael Proctor stated that he was comfortable conducting the interview, and
Why would you?
I asked him if he was sure, and he said yes, we moved on.
Well, why would you even ask him that?
Yes.
Why would he ask him that? He must have known something, right? He must have known something, or he wouldn't have asked him that, right?
Last couple of questions. Were you in court? I know you're indicating that you've never heard about these text messages. Were you in court in February of 2024 following the federal investigation revelation, the documents that we got from the both sides got from the federal investigation, which revealed in the court the texter, hey, Judy wants to get you a gift, and Michael Proctor's response was, get it for Elizabeth, get it for my wife. Were you in court or
Harassment, I stopped coming to court proceedings due to that. So I was not in court in February of 2024 and describing the information that you're revealing. I wasn't aware of that. I'm not aware that it's televised, no.
You're not aware?
I know it streams, but I'm not aware that it's televised.
Okay. Stream, however you, whatever you want to call it. Streamed on the internet, you can find it.
You can, yes.
They're recorded. Did you ever review the hearing in February 2024 talking about what's been referred to as the Fed dump and the revelations that were made pursuant to that federal investigation and the text messages attended there too?
I am aware of a Fed dump. I'm aware that it exists. I was not privileged to any information outside of the information that was revealed to me during the internal affairs investigation.
Right.
That was the first time I saw documents from that federal investigation.
By the way, were you privy to, Michael, there were three individuals involved in the investigation, yourself, Lieutenant Tully, and Michael Proctor, is that right?
What investigation was? I know they were as well. I don't know who else might have been involved. I don't know.
In terms of your awareness of Michael Proctor's investigation, You're aware, obviously, that he was terminated, correct?
I am aware that he's terminated, yes.
Did you ever see or were privy to any of the documents or investigative materials associated with his termination as his supervisor?
No, no.
So nothing was ever shared with you, the final
Other than,
decision?
other than the documents that he was attached in the text message that I was shown from that investigation, nobody showed me anything of his investigation.
Okay, let's, all right. Do you want to be heard, Mr. Jackson?
No.
Okay.
On that.
Yeah, I'm not letting any of this in.
I think it's all admissible, but I understand the court's ruling was if he doesn't have personal knowledge of it and didn't have it then you're not gonna let it in. It's over our objection, but that's been noted.
Okay, so you got your voir dire, and I'm glad we fleshed it all out. So you have me back here in 35 minutes. All right. When's the jury coming back, Paul?
20 hours.
All right. Be back here at 25. Ready to go.
All rise for the court, please.
5. Did she say 25 till? So, because they're not supposed to know about the federal investigation. So 20, 25, 25 till 2. So 1:35. Okay, guys, 1:35. Judy, why did you ask if Paul was in trouble again? Did you hear anything? Yeah. The jury's not supposed to know about the federal investigation. So I don't know how they were going to get that in anyway. So I kind of don't know what that was about. I guess Peter will explain it this afternoon. I'm not even sure how that would have gotten in at all. Because I know they're allowed to say previous proceedings, so there was a hearing about it, so maybe they could have just said previous proceeding. I don't know. Okay, guys, 1:35. I will see you then. Have a good lunch.